This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hi, everybody. Cheryl Kay from Unleashed. And guess who's back with me? My co-host, Jerry.
Hi, Cheryl.
Hi, Jerry. I'm so glad that you're back and we're on air. And
yes. It's wonderful to be back in Florida. It's wonderful to feel that sun. That's great.
And now you have a new adventure story for us.
Well, I do. I told you about losing Marty in the summer. And that was a difficult time for me. But I found an opportunity to do some volunteer work, which I'm sure a lot of your listeners are familiar with. The SPCA, my local SPCA, needed dog walkers. So I volunteered at the Charlottesville Albemarle SPCA and started walking dogs because I just couldn't make a commitment to get another dog right now, but I have to have a canine. Oh my goodness, you have to have a canine in your life, and walking them and fostering maybe for a week or a weekend has been such an experience. I've never done that before. So,
and you have a special dog that you like that you take home with you.
Well,
right?
you know, it is so amazing because Marty, as an older black lab, was just an easygoing dog. He was just a pleasure. He was not high maintenance at all. So the universe wanted to send me a little bit of a challenge with beautiful Lucy. And I showed you a picture of Lucy.
Yeah, beautiful dog.
Oh, she's just a mix of whatever. We don't even know. We say hound mix mostly. And she's about 5 or 6 years old, but she has they're amber colored eyes.
She's got sweet eyes.
She does. And she has given me a run for my money because I was, as I said, used to a Marty, and she has a personality that is very different. Very, very different.
Right. And that's the beauty of all the different animals that come into our lives. And just like people, everything is different. People are different. Animals are different. Some animals some dogs like cats. Some dogs like cows and horses. They pick their own friends, and obviously Lucy has picked you.
Well, she's been at the shelter a while, and this, as I'm sure most SPCAs that your listeners are familiar with, is a fabulous, fabulous organization. And we have a great turnover. We have a great amount of dogs that are adopted out of our shelter, and we take in other dogs from other shelters. So as many as I think it was 1,400 pets were adopted last year.
That's wonderful. And I've seen the pictures.
Yes.
One is more gorgeous than the other. And like you said, they are hound dogs. It is Virginia.
It is Virginia, and there are a lot of hound dogs. One is more beautiful than the other. And you know what I realized, Cheryl? These dogs are all rescue or strays that have never been claimed. And they range in age. On an average, I'm going to say the average age may be 2 to 5 years old. So then it's not necessarily puppies or very old, but they're 2 to 5 years old. So they're adult dogs. And you would think that these animals at this stage of life would fear a human or have a negative reaction because they're a little older. You don't know many times. You don't know the background of
we don't know
why.
their baggage for sure.
But here's what I have found walking these dogs. Every single one is just eager to please you. It's amazing. They're just so eager to want to please you. They want to connect with you. They are looking exactly. So for people who think, I don't want to, exactly. So for people who think, I only want a puppy because that puppy will be
who wants a puppy?
I have to tell you.
No.
They think, only the puppy will love me and give me that much affection. These dogs, for the most part, are so eager to be your best friend. They're loving, they're affectionate. Now, that's not to say that there's a couple that would be more skittish for whatever reason in their background, but for the most part, I have found that any dog I have walked is just a love, an absolute love. So don't be afraid. I guess what I'm trying to say is don't be afraid to adopt a little older dog.
Yeah, and I have to tell you,
an adult, not a senior, but these
I
adult
agree,
dogs.
But it's not just skittish on the dog's part. You know, you could go to the shelter, adopt the dog, lovey, whatever, but it could be on the other end. One of the shows I did with somebody who trained dogs for veterans. And one of the things she said after the veteran adopted his dog was that they go home with the pet for 2 to 3 weeks by themselves and they bond. Nobody else comes into their sphere. And I think that's very important. I'm not saying that, you know, you live your life, but the dog, you are with that dog. I always believed when you get an animal, whether it's a cat or a dog, mostly dogs because they bark and they have some anxiety when they're left, that, you know, when you bring them home after 10, 15 minutes, you know, you walk outside maybe to get your newspaper or get your mail, you come back. You teach that animal that you will return because you're all they have.
Yes.
So, you know.
When you're saying that you do need some one-on-one time, you know, but you can get that interacting, playing with the dog, even if you're a family of 4 or 5 and you're adopting an adult dog who's 3 or 4 or 5 years old. As I'm saying, don't be put off because they're an adult dog. They will bond with you. This is what I have seen with all these dogs that I've encountered at the SPCA, and they just are eager to please. Again, it's what your personality fits
if you're
with.
social,
if you're social, they're going to be social.
Right. It might not be in the beginning.
Right. And then, of course, that you can have a dog that has a little more of a challenge situation like Lucy. For some reason, Lucy does not like other dogs. So you cannot take Lucy to the dog park. You cannot have a play group with Lucy. It's even hard to walk Lucy sometimes. I'm very aware when I'm walking her, I'm looking, 5, 6, 7 blocks ahead. If I see another person walking a dog, I'm going to go in the opposite direction.
But she barks when she sees that, right?
She lunges and she barks. And of course, the two together are hard. If you're not a strong person, she can pull you off your feet. And she's only maybe 35, 40 pounds. But she lunges and she barks. You would think that she had a horrible experience. We don't know what it is, but she's wonderful with people. She cuddles with me. She just
and she listens to you at
She
home.
is absolutely so well trained. She is just a mystery because this dog will listen to very basic commands. She knows a lot of commands. She heels, she stops, she can lay down, she sits. She will look straight at you, waiting for you to tell her what to do. And she will listen. She's fabulous until she sees another dog.
But
then she doesn't listen at all.
I think eventually, if she got a companion.
Yes, she needs a companion that will, she needs her human, needs to be one-on-one with her. She can, I think that with the proper training, that behavior can be
and the proper
modified.
setting also.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. The energy around any dog has to fit the dog's personality.
We've proven that our dogs they like a pet also. They like a companion.
Yes.
So it's just figuring out, maybe she had a bad time with it, but
possible. But all I can say is that it was a surprise to me to see these adult dogs so eager to be open and affectionate and welcome you and love you. And even though they have been in the shelter, a couple of weeks, some a couple of months, we particularly have a pretty good turnover. Our dogs are not there that often, months at a time. You have a few that are a little bit of a challenge that may be there 4 or 5 months, but we're very fortunate in our community that our dogs are adopted out quickly.
Tell our listeners the website, because these dogs and the video.
And they are beautiful. We happen to have some beautiful dogs.
No, they are. One is more beautiful than the other.
They really are.
I can't imagine somebody going there and not walking out with two.
Okay, I know.
And why not?
And why not?
You have 2 cars?
Well, of course, if we do have some bonded pairs, you have to take the 2. They're very bonded.
I like that. I like when they do that. A few bonded pairs, groups. But maybe that's what Lucy's problem is. Maybe she had a divorce.
It would have been a bad divorce. Anyway, I think that if anyone is interested, it's the Charlottesville Albemarle. That's CASPCA. So it's the Charlottesville Albemarle, SPCA.org. And they are located in Charlottesville, Virginia. But any of your local SPCAs obviously are a wonderful resource for.
And they're also on Facebook,
right? Yes, they are on Facebook as well. We do some videos. It's been a great experience. And even for your listeners that just want to volunteer, I certainly encourage them to go to your local SPCA. We are really an organization that is focusing on bringing a lot more attention to adopting these dogs, rescue dogs.
Oh,
my goodness gracious, there's so much going on with rescue animals today. Much more. I mean, we bring them to nursing homes, there's certain temperament, of course.
Right.
And of course, to PetSmart or to any of the pet stores.
What about the police department? Do they ever come?
No, we don't have an agreement that I know with our local police department.
You have a lot of hound dogs.
Yes.
And they're beautiful and they look friendly and that would be a wonderful thing.
Yes.
But I want to also talk about, because, when you first told me, it kind of bothered me. It made me sad.
Oh, yes.
That you would take
an
animal home.
Say, and then return it as a foster
them. What did I do wrong?
I know.
But you seem to keep going back for Lucy, so you kind of have like a relationship.
I think so. And you know what? We're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about fostering for a weekend or just a field trip, what we call a field trip.
Be right back.
Okay.
My dog, Mojo, was half beagle and half coonhound. He ate everything in sight. He would swallow things whole, including a chicken carcass, a bird nest with a bird in it, and assorted stones and sticks. We had to take him to the veterinary emergency room. After surgery, Mojo had skin issues. He was constantly itching and scratching, chewing on his feet, and chewing the hair right off of his legs, being irritated, lethargic, and just not the same dog.
DINOVITE.com.
When we put him on the Dinovite, he took right to it. All of these symptoms disappeared.
Dinovite is nutrition.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Something that he actually likes to eat. You need to put him on Dinovite. Dinovite for life. If you love your dog, you don't just want him healthy, you want him to be happy.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Well, we're back and we're going to talk about field trip with fostering animals.
Yes, it's called a Fido field trip, and I would be surprised if your local SPCA did not have a program like that, because the whole idea is to get these animals out of the environment of being confined and socialize them. So what you didn't like is that I started taking Lucy for a weekend just to get her out of the shelter and to have her home with me and she was just a delight as long as she doesn't encounter another dog. And then I would bring her back on Monday, and then, she'd return to her kennel, and I would walk some other dogs. And, if I was not in town that week, she knows that her kennel is there and she is safe there and she's loved and she's taken care of. And then another week when I came back into town and I had the time, I would take her for 3 or 4 days. She'd come back to my house. And I know you were concerned that she would be depressed going back.
But I thought about it, and you know what I think? I don't think she's ever been adopted and returned.
No, we don't know, obviously. She was surrendered.
Right, that one time. But if she had been, because we have pictures of these dogs, once they're adopted, they take them. They really are.
Yes.
You could see they're happy.
Yes, they are.
So she might not have had that experience and then been brought back. So she might not be sad.
Mm-hmm. No. And what I can tell you is this. These animals, from my experience in my SPCA, are so loved. So they know that environment is so safe.
And clean.
I mean, you saw the video of Charlottesville Albemarle SPCA. It's immaculate. It is large. It is beautiful.
And tell them about that they have that little area they can go out.
Oh, that's a huge area. There are several parks that you can, if dogs are compatible, they can run together in dog parks. We have dog parks. We have an area that's an agility course for a dog that wants to really be very active.
I think that's so important.
We have
some dogs that want to do that.
Yes, they do. And again, the idea is to make that shelter so safe and so that dog feels so loved. But at the same time, I'm taking Lucy for a weekend. She loves being with me, but she knows that she's going back to a very safe and loving environment. So it's not traumatic.
It's a date.
It's a date. It's just coffee.
A long date.
It's a long date. It's a long date. But I think that that's the key too, is that we keep thinking that shelter dogs were in abusive situations.
Some shelters are overcrowded.
Yes, and
we know what they do there, and the barking. I didn't hear a lot of barking in your place.
No, but you'll hear it, of course, because you'll hear
there
it.
are some that it is constant.
Yes, and of course, years ago, more shelters were kill facilities. Now there are more that are no-kill facilities. Ours is certainly a no-kill facility, and the idea of adopting out shelter dogs is so more acceptable, I think, today. I mean, we have fundraisers.
Nobody
did that.
Like wearing fur
yes.
is looked down. Nobody goes to breeders anymore unless it has to be a certain thing for a certain reason.
No, and you know what? If you
you could get full breds at shelters.
Oh, you certainly can, because as I was starting to say, we have this idea that if the dog was surrendered to a shelter, now this might be 30-year-old thinking, oh, the dog was abused. That's not the case. These dogs that are many times surrendered, someone is sick, someone has passed away, someone has an allergy, they're moving. They were loved.
They're getting a baby.
They were loved and they were taken care of. And now so I think that's why they're just such lovely animals. We had this thought years ago that was not our preference. Now it has become so popular and so much more acceptable to realize that dog is absolutely the perfect pet. And we have local breweries now that are putting pictures of shelter dogs.
Right.
I mean, so we're promoting that whole idea.
Oh, no, it's a whole movement now to get,
a shelter dog.
Libraries are doing
it.
First of all, they're hiring pets not that they really work, but in businesses, we're learning what we, the people, really need.
Yes.
We really need pets. And I mean, I've had a pet since before I was born. I have never lived one day in my life without an animal to clean up after, to feed, to love me back. But, in your fostering situation there, this could be really good for people, whether they're near your place or there's one by them.
Oh, I'm sure there's one every SPCA in almost every
Say
community.
Somebody has a dog and they want to maybe get another dog.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This would be a good thing to maybe bring their dog to the shelter.
Oh, yes.
To see how their dog interacts with maybe a dog they're considering adopting. Because it really doesn't matter who you and I love. If you have another pet, that's going to be their companion.
Well, actually, that's a requirement before they release an animal that you are interested in adopting. If you have a pet at home, they're going to ask you to bring that pet because they want to make sure that that's a compatible match.
And they do home visits as well.
And then they'll follow up with a home visit. And of course, I think that for the most part, people that want to adopt another pet, you could just take the dog for a Fido weekend. You don't have to make the commitment to say, I'm going to adopt this dog. I'll take him for the weekend and see how it works out with my other pet. Maybe that dog is great with a cat
maybe your dog
or a dog.
is going to be upset because...
Exactly. Or maybe your own dog might react. So the whole Fido weekend field trip is a great way to see what situation works for what pet.
I'm feeling a little better about it in your specific situation in your place.
And it was hard to bring her back, but I also know that right now that's the best thing that I can do with Lucy because I personally don't have the ability to redirect the behavior that needs to be corrected. And she does get training and she has some behavior modification training at the facility.
Yeah,
and they'll
I think
work
what
with her.
she has is definitely correctable.
Right. Yes.
It's for because she gets along with people.
She loves people. It's other dogs, and if she spots another dog from 3 blocks away, she's lunging and she's
Maybe a
barking.
goat.
Maybe a goat. Oh, she'd be fabulous on a farm. Oh my gosh, she loves to fetch. She'll throw it.
Maybe she's a herder.
I don't know, but could
you
be.
have some of those. You have some sheep places near you.
Oh, we have a lot of farms, so we have a lot of sheepdogs, but we don't see a lot of sheepdogs coming into the shelter because those working dogs are so much in demand and they're fabulous to watch. Anytime you get a chance to watch a sheepdog is just amazing because they know a command just on a whistle.
They are innate, though.
Yes,
you don't even have to tell them. Somebody told me a story about they took a dog to where ducks were, and without saying a word,
they herded them. Yeah, they herded them.
But how do you think Lucy would do with running, jumping, going through the
Oh, she would do fabulous. I take her to the park. I don't take her to the agility park. Again,
why don't you try?
I'm going to try the next time that I get up there, and I may take her there. Of course, I don't know how to train her to do that agility course, but I will take her and we'll give it a whirl. She loves the dog park. Of course, she has to be by herself in that dog park. So she really loves that dog park.
She likes every place alone.
Yes. I can relate sometimes. So I can relate to that sometimes. So
tell everybody, give them the phone number and the address again. And
okay, I can't see that phone number right off, but it's the Charlottesville Albemarle SPCA, Charlottesville, Virginia. It's on Berkmer Drive, and you can pull them up on Facebook, and you have many times.
And to our listeners who do go on it, and if you see some cute dogs and you can't, adopt the dogs or foster the dogs, please share it on your Facebook so other people see it. Because the more, the merrier. We have to get dogs adopted and in the home, in front of the hearth, on our bed, at the foot of our bed. I mean, what happens to animals is a testament to us as people.
Thanks so much, Cheryl, for giving me a chance to talk about that.
Anytime. Okay. And I want to remind all of our listeners to live life unleashed. I want to thank Jerry for being here and sharing this story with me. And we're going to keep up with it, and we're going to find out more about the Chronicles of Lucy. I want to thank Mark. Yes. And I want to wish everybody a wonderful day. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.